There's pressure on the Sixers and Daryl Morey to get things right. They have to get it right around Joel Embiid, or come a year or 2 or 3, Embiid could demand a trade.
It's a matter. Look, if he screws up the Harden thing,
yes,
it's a matter of time. You know when it's slowdown time is when a story like the headline today comes out, and I was like, this is such unnecessary drama. It's out of control.
Are you going with either Dan Lebitard says something about Damian Lillard, or are you going with the Joel Embiid winning I want to win a championship in Philly or elsewhere? Which one are you going with?
I'm going with Embiid.
Okay. Well, both of them kind of apply.
I mean, that being the headline, though, going that Joel Embiid, like, I guess at this film festival for one of LeBron's things or whatever, like, I went back and read the quote, and I'm like, I mean, just one sentence that's like one minor misstep, which is to say whether it's Philly or somewhere else. Like,
you're canceled.
It's like, I want to win the championship. Okay, we all accept that. Noble goal, Joel. Whether it's Philly or elsewhere. And it's like, or elsewhere. Like, Joel Embiid might want to go elsewhere. Like, yeah, no shit. All these guys. Like, I think if you are Joel Embiid, you're frustrated. For good reason. If there's any of these guys that deserves to be, Joel Embiid's like, I think, near the top of the list. You had Jimmy Butler. He loves Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler's been in the finals twice since he left. And they were, at a razor-thin margin, maybe a Kawhi shot from getting there. His two biggest sidekicks have been all-time flakes, who now, the same situation might rear its ugly head, which is the ever-patient GM with the upset player. And so now you're going to make a choice. Do I make a deal now, or do I risk a guy trying to sabotage our season, or just not even playing at all? All the meanwhile, Joel Embiid watching Jimmy Butler play in 2 finals, and he's been sidekicked with Ben Simmons and James Harden and gone through the same thing again. And he just won an MVP. He's in the middle of his prime. That team was close, really close to being able to play in the NBA Finals this year. And still, now James Harden wants out. So whether you want to blame Harden, whether you want to blame Daryl, whatever the case may be, it's still drama. It's still like not like, hey, let's tweak around the edges, and kind of shore up what cost us last year and take a run at it. Once again, it's like, here we go again. Yeah, I'm going to be playing for a different coach. I'm going to be playing with a different sidekick, more than likely. And so if he did feel a level of discontent, it would be totally reasonable. But I thought this was a pretty innocent quote that was made a big deal because it's July. What say you?
I agree. He said, I just want to win a championship. I don't know where that's going to be, whether it's in Philly or anywhere else. I just want to have a chance to accomplish that. I want to, I mean, it's pretty
what
simple.
Is that?
I mean, it's obviously the or anywhere else that's bothering people today and turning it into a story. But I mean, no kidding. Of course, it's kind of Captain Obvious conversation of the day. Yes, there's pressure on the Sixers and Daryl Morey to get things right. They have to get it right around Joel Embiid, or come a year or 2 or 3, Embiid could demand a trade.
It's a matter. Look, if he screws up the Harden thing,
yes,
it's a matter of time.
100%. And I think it's kind of obvious, and I think the quote is kind of an opportunity just to talk about that possibility. But Embiid's saying, and I don't think it's a big deal at all. Yeah, I think it's great that he cares about winning a championship, and that's the next goal for him. Taking the next step in his game is, how do I improve in the playoffs rather than have my scoring efficiency drop every year in the postseason? That's going to be the focus for Joel Embiid, because as much as we talk about the situation and the supporting cast for him, his numbers have dropped virtually every single year from regular season into playoffs. So for Embiid, how does he get better so he can take that step in the postseason, in addition to what is Daryl Morey actually going to do here with James Harden? And my understanding is really nothing new. Clippers and Sixers are far apart. There's nowhere near a deal last I heard on Friday or Saturday. It seems like so far that they're still unwilling to involve Tyrese Maxey in trades. I wonder if that indicates a bigger role for him, the way Nick Nurse, their new head coach, imagines the offense. I wonder if maybe they have a plan for Maxey to provide even more within their offense. But it seems like right now Philadelphia is looking at this like, we don't want to trade James Harden unless the deal is something that allows us to stay in contention, as in players coming back for James Harden, or if it's picks that they can then flip either immediately for players who keep them in contention, or come by middle of February at the trade deadline. I think that's something to keep in mind with Philly right now, is could they do a pick-based package? But I wonder.
That's what's going to be so fascinating, right? Good. Go ahead.
Well, no, I just think with them, just on that note, Chris, the Clippers are the team Harden wants to go to. Just like Dame wants to go to Miami, Harden wants to go to the Clippers. With Dame, the Blazers are waiting on other teams to, step up and make offers, trying to drive up the price or make something that's acceptable for them. Philly's in a similar spot right now where the Clippers aren't making an acceptable offer. Are there any other teams that come to mind to you that should have interest in Harden or might have interest in Harden that Philadelphia could kind of toy with later this summer? Because I'm having a hard time pinpointing who makes any sense.
Well, and that's the crazy thing, right? No, I cannot either. And I think that's because, he opted into that contract because I think he looked out there and saw there ain't the interest that you would think.
No.
For him. And so he's not getting what he wants out of Philly. There's not the interest out there. So he opts in, and that does kind of hurt your leverage because, if you want to do the whole quit on my team again, now you're never going to get that big time deal. And so, Morey may know that and just be like, hey, I can play this out like I did the Ben Simmons thing and say, fine, if we're not getting what I want back, if I'm not bringing back huge return for Harden, then it behooves me to just have him on my roster. And if he wants to quit on this team or not play or not report or whatever for this team, fine. It's going to cost him $150 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really will.
Yeah.
Like, the difference is, Simmons had his deal. He had his deal. He had his money, and it was already locked in to a long contract. This is a 1-year deal for Harden at a lower price, and that would be the last big deal he ever gets if he bails on another team, because nobody's going to be lining up to give him a big contract or sign him to some kind of extension if he bails on another one.
And absolutely agree, Chris. And the pressure's on Harden there too, right? Like, right. Is he gonna end up, putting on a happy face and go back if Morey decides to keep him? But I don't know. I mean, like, just to throw a couple names out there, like if Morey's hoping somebody else steps up, Miami, if they don't get Dame, maybe Miami, but then you're trading within your conference. You're trading him to a team that also is contending for the finals. How about Chicago? Out of desperation, maybe something like that. I don't think it makes total sense. Toronto, need a point guard, maybe trade Siakam. I just don't know if Toronto makes a heck of a lot of sense considering their system either. The one team that I do think I could kind of see, even though I don't like the fit, the Timberwolves. They're in the Western Conference. Upgrade at point guard. He could complement Anthony Edwards in the backcourt. I mean, maybe it works with Rudy Gobert. I just don't see the fit necessarily. It's hard to find a team. I feel like I'm grasping at straws, whereas with Dame, there's a lot of teams that make sense for Dame. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it. With Harden, there's not many teams that stand out as, oh, yeah, they should go for James Harden right now.
Right, yeah.